The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion.
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything... Still, it's hard to fathom something...
No,
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands. So many
So where do her thorns?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all.
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come...
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can be... Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelagian.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? But why would they want to just...
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth, especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek. As for what the...
Right.
How you holding?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, that?
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still. Even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, Shion doesn't know how lucky she...
Yeah.
I'm being serious. She really needed that. That's what I mean.
I just want... Those thorns have robbed...
You can say that. I have my own dream.
Agreed. Can't sleep?
After every...
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal... I just figured that, but it turned...
I know.
She was so alone this entire...
I'm sure.
You...
Yeah, you were a good...
Yeah, when you think about it, but over time... No, I mean, I think it'd be...
Finwell.
Did you know?
You mean about
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. It's like
You and me both.
You?
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand.
At least you figured it.
I don't think we're...
Yeah, with the...
I know.
Hey, you're the...
Zephyr.
I guess he couldn't say any...
Law.
Sorry. We'll need all... I'll probably end up worrying again.
Yeah. Hey.
As much as I try to look like I have things under control.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first... That's okay. I was different back then, but in that room with Deadime, when you called me your friend, it just... Because until that moment, I thought of you as a way to use the... But after that day, one time became two. And before I knew it, didn't matter that we were Renans. You cared about us then. I didn't want to die and lose you all.
Shion.
But then, I realized... Don't worry, it's okay. I've met too many people along the way who so I'll fight. I don't know how we're going to do it.
It's going to be a lot. I swear I'll...
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calagli?
Yeah.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. We depart for Lenegus.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... Well, it's as good a name as any.
Okay, people. We have two goals, and then we need to figure out the... All right?
can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion?
Is something wrong?
No, I was merely thinking
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess...
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. You too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. Doesn't that
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people, but I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. Come back and speak to me.
We'll be going to...
This must feel... What was...
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just...
You mean...
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me. Day in and day out. Every single day. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Some existence, huh? I thought things couldn't get any worse. Is it any wonder? Sure, I survived, but that's when it hit me. If I was going to die...
I'm sorry. You say it's your destiny to die. That's exact... Why should you have to give up your... It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. As if someone... This struggle was never about saving... If we're doing this to protect people... If we're...
A world free of sacrifice. That's...
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is if we're going to win. Now I see it.
a victory.
You bet we can pull it off.
Yeah, we can do this.
Hey, Alpha!
Hey!
What's got Law?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all,
Hey! I just think it's...
it's a start.
Well, maybe
Guys,
Oh, that's...
hard to argue.
you okay?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are...
Glad to hear it. That device there,
I was just wondering what it is.
it's a healing pod. It fixes...
Oh, you don't say. Alphen?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. Naori laid me...
So, you're saying you got in...
Yes, it sounds crazy.
That's definitely quite some lie-in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far. Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you?
Of course. That's why you...
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was... I'll always remember him. The world's bigger if I've learned anything on this journey. And the one who brought me along was you.
Well, we're not out of...
I know.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh?
Is everyone about...
Before we do...
Kisara has a point.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been...
Very well. Of course, it also happens to be a city. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's...
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right?
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if... Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danon.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty...
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really...
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who's...
Jeez.
Wait a second.
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst, as if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure.
So this red woman, are we expecting...
I would wager so. Lenegis is too... Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being...
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit...
That red woman's got a lot to answer for.
We're about to land.
If there are clues about your... There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman... And if we're lucky, the Renis...
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as...
Forbidden?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
And you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway, then the Renis Alma might be in this. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere.
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to walk?
There's only one way to find out.
Shion's right.
All right. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows?
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way...
Dohalim? Is...
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim. Don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself.
So who's Far?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis...
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world.
We need more information. Let's talk to...
While we're at it,
And don't forget about finding...
Let's leave the talking to...
Good idea.
I shall assume
You sure?
being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it. The Danans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
what are we, dogs?
Your lordship, I descended to Dana. I witnessed the death.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red.
All red, eh? No,
Yeah. What about down on Dana?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or up...
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? I was hoping to head...
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! What happened?
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of... I thought maybe it was a passageway.
It's worth investigating. I shall go and...
You'd really do...
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both...
Oh, what?
Oh, dear me. Whatever did we do to deserve?
You really have no clue what...
Would that I have. We have no choice. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship? I believed he was...
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same.
As your lordship with the Ilkaris house has produced...
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Well, we've canvassed...
No one has the faintest...
You'd think that info would easily...
Not to this...
Even
Yeah.
Everything that happened, nothing happens to...
The Sovereign's... There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is the...
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as... That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis...
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total... Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is... Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me.
No.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not.
Hold up, what do you get?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself.
But what about trade and communication?
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, what if something were to happen to the city?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said, but Sovereign is also the title given to the
Whoever wins the crown contest and thereafter, that individual. As for how Volron factors into all this,
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. Now, 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without...
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that...
I can't say for sure, but it certainly...
But that would mean that 2 sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purpose. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganeth Heros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that...
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are work? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma.
There's something else the ceremony needs.
questions.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off...
Then it's decide.
One of the citizens Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run... I mean, there's sovereign...
But Doha...
Only current acting lords have...
Even if the other lords work...
I wonder what they... Also, now that I think of it...
Well, yeah, why... To us Danans, they were just...
I know.
It feels...
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, every lord in their household has their and luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on deck.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis's transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or...
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember...
There's something I just...
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead, in which case, the current Sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the
Yeah, that
So...
Hanfricht Milgras, the former Lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current...
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming Sovereign, he's...
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the Sovereign that came...
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland. Sovereign...
And that never struck...
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks.
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of... But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grandest...
You and me both. Though we are...
with any luck...
No use standing around here...
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the I was...
But why are you here? Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that...
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it. First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance my sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to.
Is it true?
Each of us have our pasts.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne.
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if—
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just—
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence. I have no intention of expiring before I— Besides, you have just as much—
Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't
It is something—
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, Avakir, Faria.
Tarnigan. He was the one—
He was once my dearest, closest friend. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music.
a friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone—
I suppose it's natural you would see it.
I would have. Now, I think the idea of breaking— Besides, it was that way—
Your praise does me too great a— And even then, it only lasted until the Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think—
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her—
So instead you let her go on hating you.
That's not the same as—
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my— As for what happened after—
But if you hadn't become Lord—
Shion's right. You saved me. So,
Frank is all but.
Do you think he'll be all right?
yeah, I think so.
It's important to—
I didn't realize how—
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side.
I hope you're right. Alphen,
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes for— ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe. But I still wanted to say... thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Damn it. Lenegis soldiers.
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Oh! I am Lord Dohalim of Helden Menethia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one.
Illuminate the
The enemy reveals ours too.
You'll soon see about that!
Take
Megasonic thrust! Here! Megasonic thrust! Try harder!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Megasonic thrust! Burn it out!
Need to pull myself together. Do it!
Those soldiers...
Yeah, they weren't big talkers.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by...
Indeed. They seem... And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ghana.
I've never seen anything like...
Maybe someone doesn't want us here.
What with the red...
What's with that shining foe over there?
Let's dispose of the trash.
Megasonic thrust!
Trying to keep up with a wolf! Lightning annihilation!
What's this?
I need to be stronger. Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on... Let's dispose of the
Megasonic
trash.
thrust! Megasonic thrust!
Now we're not...
I'm on it!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
Here's a healing
Megasonic thrust! Megasonic thrust!
In a bind? Now I'm in trouble.
Ignite!
Here we go. I can carve through walls. I'm just
Megasonic thrust! Here!
Here we go again.
Take that! Megasonic thrust! Here! Megasonic thrust!
Freeze Lancer!
Megasonic thrust! Here! This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me.
Got it! I'll leave it to you! Megasonic thrust!
By the power of illuminate the dark!
You're done! Here I come!
It was nice while it lasted.
I'll heal you all!
Robbed in pain. No further!
It's done!
Sleep now!
Burn in hell!
This one's mine! Magic is in!
Here!
I'll finish you here and now.
I'm all stopped up! Annihilation! Mega Ray!
Here I come! Megasonic
Lunar
thrust!
corruption!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclops!
Leave
bad guys really don't mess around.
Don't leave me!
I'll punch that gun out of your hand!
Oh my lord! Holy glitter! Only from death to this!
Evil won't save you!
Not done yet!
Easy and to me.
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! Dragon shout! Dragon throw!
It's almost too strong. Be my guest. Dragon throw! No escape! Here!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
Eat dirt! Will this help? That'll bring you down!
This one's all mine. Dragon throw! Not today! Pierce! We're not finished!
I really owe you one.
Now!
Come on! Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
That took more energy than I expected.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Danon. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for, let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision.
That person Alphen was speaking.
It was Naori. Naori.
She really does look like Shion.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly?
It was a conversation we had 300 years...
You mean all of that really happened?
But how is that even possible?
No, I don't think...
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral energy rushing over.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was...
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being... For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot.
So you think it might have been the energy?
We have no way of knowing.
Shion.
Yeah. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like, look...
Yeah, there's certainly...
What about you?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see reliving painful episodes from your past.
I can't just pretend like... Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth...
Alphen.
That's not all. I'd like to liberate them too, if I can. Which is just...
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else. Not that I'm complaining.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.
Faria!
Wait.
What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
A summoning?
But that's preposterous! She never had that kind of power when...
We can talk later. Here it comes!
What? I've never known Faria to control doodles like that before.
How about with a stone that looks suspiciously like a master core?
Where did she get her hands on that?
First we handled the zoo. Then we kept some answers. No, weak spot.
Eat this!
Swallow blade!
Raging Cascade! Let me help.
Take this!
Talent
Storm! Megasonic thrust!
Away!
Here!
Mega Ray!
Megasonic thrust!
Annihilation!
Here!
Mega Ray!
You're mine! No escape!
Whirlwind Snap!
Now I'm in the groove!
Here I come!
I'll stop its charge! Thanks, Kisara! Let the marksman handle this! Raging Storm! Hit!
Infernal Torrent!
Precipitation! It's weakened!
This
Here,
ends
let me
now!
help!
Megasonic thrust! Here! It's
Holy
gone!
Lift!
Here!
Lunar Corruption!
Ignite!
I never miss! Talon Hurricane! It's far enough! Eagle Fire! I'll heal you all!
Prepare to be
Raging Cascade!
River!
Astral Energy!
Say no more!
Ready! Let me help!
Megasonic thrust!
Swallow
Here!
Grenade! Chinese
Megasonic
Supernova!
thrust!
Raging Cascade!
this! Here!
Seal!
Megasonic Crush!
Watch this!
Here comes something big!
Right on! Take this! My actuality! Not on my watch!
I'll smash you! This one's all mine!
Hit!
You picked the wrong fight!
Annihilation! Nightwell Flash Gemini Aqua!
Here we go again!
I'll heal you once!
Pierce! Megasonic Thrust!
Dance in the wind!
Megasonic Thrust! You're mine!
Eagle Drop! I'm on a roll now! Will this help? Nothing gets by me! Here goes! Healing Circle! I'm almost impressed!
Our praise comes from you.
I said almost. Don't get hurt. I never miss!
Megasonic Thrust! Pierce! Showtime!
I'll heal you all!
Megasonic Thrust!
Confiscated!
It was nice.
Here, let me help!
Megasonic Thrust!
Hey,
Frickin' doesn't! Megasonic Thrust! Pierce!
Lightning! Downfall! Holy Land!
Stay inside me! Yours to be let free!
I don't even know the word defeat.
That frickin' does it! Eat dirt!
I'll let you all down.
You'll pay for that!
Dance in the wind! Far enough! Here! Downfall! I'll bring you back from death's abyss! Lightning condemned! Resuscitation! Lightning! Downfall! I'm out of ammo! Magic is there! Holy Land! Healing Circle! I'll bring you... I'm all stopped up! Sorry! Lightning! There's not enough time to heal everyone!
What do we do? Play dead?
Shut up and be more defensive!
See what happened there as you crossed me.
I've still got
Shouldn't
some
have done
fire in me. Primed and rent!
Dragon Shell!
Lightning! Raging
Dragon Shell! This should do it! Megasonic Thrust! Chisara! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
Now it's just her!
Faria! Can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning!
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more. Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes.
Not her.
Shion.
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self.
We're not even supposed to be...
In that case,
I'll take her off your hands.
You?
Avakir.
I was curious what you were up to, so I overheard what you said about Tarnigan, about how he really died. I'm sorry, I had no idea.
And you believed me?
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to, but whatever.
Thank you.
He seems like a...
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was all... As for Faria, it's all...
You don't serious...
Somebody got to her. To strike back at... And the same goes for...
You're wrong. As for Tarnigan, but that's why we're fighting.
Indeed.
You can't I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. No amount of soul-searching or trying to make amends is going to change that. Forgiveness, acceptance, those...
So I just forget the harm I...
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart always. Not for those already
For those still...
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others.
That's what living's all about. Punishing yourself for the past won't make the...
Only fixing the problem in its stead. Is that what...
That's right. You have to live for
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve. The Forbidden Zone, remember?
Shion,
Huh?
thank you.
Glad to be of...
I'm glad we could stop Faria without hurting her.
You all did much for her as well. I'm most grateful.
What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah. It's that voice.
The will of Dana's astral energy.
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just now.
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness.
An empty void.
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing.
So, everything we just...
That's right. It was as if her innermost thoughts were speaking direct.
That power flowing into her. It reminds me of Shion's thorns. If they're what's maybe my thorns are made from that same
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between... No. More...
I've never felt astral energy so... If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark...
Correct. Dark astral...
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops its own form of sentience. If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energy's will is wishing for. But why?
I don't know. Will can be a pretty vague thing to nail down.
But the will of Dana is made up of astral energy too, right? I don't know, should we really be getting so involved with...
Dana's will would never want oblivion.
But you can't say that for sure.
Cut it out, you two.
Let's keep moving. If it's Dana's will showing us these memories.
Shion's right. All we can do is keep going. And I think they may be the kinds of...
I'm sorry.
Finally, we begin to understand what the thorns are.
Yes, and their source. A ceremony that occurred 3 centuries ago.
But we still don't know how to get rid of them. I just hope we can find a way. Soon, we might have to be ready to face anything. Whatever happens, I'm determined to save you. Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks like some
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised?
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out. Well?
These are experiment records, by the looks of it. A composite being capable of controlling Danon astral energy so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure, taking the form of a Danon. Codename Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the Master Cores. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the Lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renan citizens. In other words, it may be that all Renans are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
What about the Sovereign? Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait.
What is it? Did you find something?
It's a list of names, with the title, Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait, I think I've found one that was successful. Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They've re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
It's fine, really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron? But that means...
He's only sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the Sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined. When a new Sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 Sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the Sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
But even supposing that's true, someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right? If it wasn't the Sovereign, then who was it?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a Sovereign. Me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily... She could be working for someone else.
Either way, it's fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
What about the data records? Is there no other...
Not that I can see. Just file upon... There's nothing here about who's behind all. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all.
I'll do that.
So this is where Alphen became the Sovereign. And Volron as well. The significance of this location would just...
Hey, it looks like the terminals in here turned on too.
We should look through them. They might contain valuable information.
Naori,
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Rena never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Elfin. Farewell.
Naori...
His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system. But... If I don't head back, Lennigus will be nothing but ashes, and this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen. That vision. It must have been from when Naor...
She sure went above and beyond.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her,
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain. And why you were asleep for that.
Yeah. If it weren't for her.
Now that you know how she felt,
She kept her... If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent... Naori was the one who put that mask on me. And made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renis Alma was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
the Renis Alma isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori.
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening.
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, Perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alfin the Sovereign was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse on to my descendants as well. Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just...
Naori.
That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or...
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until we find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Shion. you included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power. She stopped my but then, that power, I'm so sorry,
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony, and you paid a heavy price for it. And then the reason you lost your memory
is the reason.
The thorns.
It all leads back to them. The ones...
When I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No, the truth is, about a life without the touch of my family, holding hands with Rinwell, or embracing all the normal... I always wished, is it really okay for me? I'm so scared. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
Let's not go... I'm here to forget fate, or... We're going to live... a normal life. There are a lot of things you still...
Yeah, it's such a... I know, and it's for my sake.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. Until our future.
That's quite some door, all right. This might finally...
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red...
After everything we've been through to get here?
We'll probably be needing you to open this one for us, Sovereign.
Go for it, Alphen.
This is it, guys.
Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
Wait, though. Something doesn't seem right here.
Once more, the powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Rena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey, look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the Maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but... Are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless, we cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alphen, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible? What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
They're not feeling particularly talkative.
It's no use, Alphen. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point. Let's stop them before this gets out of hand.
Now I'm in
Swallow
the
blade! Try this!
altar thing.
Swallow blade!
Gravitas field! Weak astral energy! More mana ray!
Here!
Raise it and here!
Megasonic thrust!
Now you see what I can do.
On my watch!
Now I'm in the
No
groove.
further! Take this!
Raging
Megasonic
storm!
dam! Here!
Tunnel!
It's too much!
Healing throw!
Challenge form!
Dance in the
This
wind!
one's all mine!
Now I'm in the groove.
My astral illumination!
Let me help.
Light astral energy! Lightning condemned! Thunderblade!
Megasonic
Illuminate
thrust!
the storm! Magic flame! Holy
Megasonic
land!
thrust!
Let me show you what my art can do.
Rising sun!
I'm going to need to use all the power of my
Light
healing art
astral
to
energy!
accomplish
Lightning
this.
condemned! Thunderblade! Illuminate the
Megasonic
storm!
thrust!
Magic! Holy land! Recover!
I owe you one. Thrust!
Glacial spear. Pierce me.
Megasonic
That'll
one's
bring
all
you
mine.
down.
You picked the wrong fight!
Glacial spear.
Here you go! Lightning
Megasonic
condemned!
thrust!
Thunderblade!
Blah, blah, blah. Back to the fray.
Holy land!
Shattering the...
This should do it!
Eagle
Here's a healing
Try
art!
this!
First aid!
Now I'm in the groove.
Challenge flame! Reload! Photon raging cascade! First aid! Magic advance! Photon
Megasonic thrust! Here! Megasonic! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Weak astral
I
energy!
can carve through armor.
Lightning not on my watch!
In a bind.
Here's a healing lightning condemned! First aid!
Megasonic!
Now I'm in the groove.
Megasonic thrust!
Holy land!
Megasonic thrust!
I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing art to accomplish this.
No! Can't end here!
Don't give up!
No! Can't end here! This should do it!
I'll finish you here and now.
Megasonic thrust! First strike! Infernal torrent!
Illuminate the dark!
I'm not done!
I'll heal you
Swallow
all!
blade! Infernal torrent! Megasonic
I'll
thrust!
finish you here and now.
Dance in the wind! Air thrust!
Take this.
Megasonic thrust! Look sharp!
Lightning tiger blade.
I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to accomplish...
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve!
What?
It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much. So you know this place? Naturally. It was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart. Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me? You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alf, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Boran was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a
slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renan and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renan and Dana are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman?
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alma!
It's too late. You can't stay here.
go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
Are you two okay?
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Is Volron... have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
What, those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissance. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now, those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renaissance in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Vrennans or Danans.
Yeah, not in a good way like with us.
I never miss! Fire support!
I'm going in!
Bring him down! Do it! First aid! Hands in the wind! Air!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and the pummeling to me!
I'm not done! Not yet! Megasonic thrust!
I'll smash you! Take this!
Dragon Kill! Megasonic thrust!
Roll now!
Healing circle!
Megasonic thrust!
Searing flame!
Silent storm! Crumble! No!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
With this, I can become even stronger!
It's no ordinary enemy I see over there. What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone?
Joe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir.
Avakir filled me in.
She doesn't remember a thing.
He told me about Tarnigan, too.
What difference does it make?
Stop casting me off!
Faria, not now. It can wait.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before—
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be—
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed. Which is looking—
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself—
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep
We need to stop that.
But how do we do?
Riots feed on discontent and—
at ease. Like by letting them— That's it. Who's the highest rank?
Lennigus wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly.
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be Avakir. You mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lennigus. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elda Menancia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid, as people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lennigus, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among men. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief—
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign
It's still too premature to say with any certainty. But I believe so.
But
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that.
You?
I have business I must take care of first. But not as your Sovereign.
But
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that one in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the path. Things like, oh, I don't know.
when I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. I feel like...
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegus till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future.
Indeed.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves. Besides, with you leading the people here...
Sounds like you're in it for the long...
How could I not be? From this day forth, though the memory...
Remember.
True enough.
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna... We should be heading back to the ship. Looks like the people of Lenegus can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.